All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Pinfall Podcast. I am once again your interim host, Mark Cameron, and we have a lot of stuff happening this week in wrestling. But before we get there, I just want to mention after the recap is done, I'll be answering any questions that you have related to wrestling. If you're watching on YouTube, though, leave a comment and with a question, and I will answer it in the next one. Or next time will be me and Liz. So for sure, I know I said that last week, but for sure next week will be me and Liz. Um, we will answer any question that you have if you leave it on YouTube. If you're watching, or if you're listening on Spotify, then tweet at us or DM us with any question that you have. But if you're watching live right now, leave your question in the chat and I'll answer it after the recap is done. And also, we have WrestleMania next weekend. We'll be doing a live watch along for that. Probably not a live watch along for Stand and Deliver, just because it's my dad's birthday. So I'm gonna be out with my family for the afternoon, most likely, and might have to miss that. We'll be doing predictions though next weekend. For everything, Stand and Deliver, WrestleMania. I don't think we'll make it to Super Card of Honor because I think that's before. I think that's Friday. But yeah, we'll be doing predictions for Mania and Stand and Deliver next weekend. And on top of that, we have a new episode of the Universal Pokemon Federation up now at upfworld.com. It's right up there, right up there. Just type that into your search bar, upfworld.com. Scroll down a bit and you'll get the new video. It's that easy. Alright, so let's talk about some stuff that's happened this week. We had quite a week as far as just CM Punk goes, not including everything else that's happened in wrestling, but just CM Punk. So everything CM Punk was sparked this week by a post he made on his story on Instagram, saying, and I'm gonna read it verbatim here. I'm trying to move through it as fast as possible because this is wordy. Sigh. I wasn't cleared to come back to wrestle yet. Then plan was to wrestle at the pay-per-view. I sat and listened to Moxley's Rocky 3 idea. I explained how I'd never seen a Rocky movie. That's kind of unbelievable. I and thought the idea sucked, but if the boss wanted to do it, whatever. He said he wouldn't lose to me. I'd never experienced someone refusing to lose to me. I just laughed. I asked Tony if this was what he wanted. He said yes. He's the boss, so I said okay, but I'd need to be cleared first. They kept saying it could just be a squash, so I didn't need to be cleared. I scoffed at that. My health is more important. Dave Meltzer is a liar. Jericho is a liar and a stooge. There were plans, but plans always change, but I'll never put a company over my health again. Above my health again. Sorry, that was not verbatim. Everything CM Punk says and does now only comes off as crybaby. I mean, people are making the comparisons to Hulk Hogan with Jon Moxley and that he didn't want to lose to CM Punk, but look at it the other way around. CM Punk literally said, "I never experienced someone refusing to lose to me." That also says that he's refusing to lose too. And he just laughed. So like that's giving levels of doesn't work for me, brother. Um but I it's it's kind of he keeps burning bridges like this. You know, first he talked shit about the EVPs during the press conference that initially started this whole thing. And then he's now talking crap about Jericho, Mox, two big people in the company. All that's left is for him to talk bad about Tony Khan, which I don't think he will. There's some more, some more news about CM Punk and all this stuff happening. I've got up the Cage Side Seats roundup, the rumor roundup of the day. All this is cited as well. So this is according to Fightful Select. CM Punk initially considered legal action and wanted out of his AEW contract after the fight at All Out. But Fightful heard that talks between Punk and AEW had been progressing well lately, and he was open to a return. That kind of contradicts what's been happening in all the news about this post and the conflicts between him, Jericho, Meltzer, all the names there. But I mean, it's obviously not a work. Like I know there are always people that are like, "Oh, is it a work? Is it are we being worked right now?" No. This shit's not a work. It's not. But would it be so far would it be such a far out thing for Punk to kind of mend the bridges that he needs to mend? Kenny's kind of on his side now, kind of, not really like on his side, but like, no hard feelings kind of thing, is what I've heard. Let's see, some more Punk stuff. Several people close to the situation said Punk expressed regret for his media scrum tirade after All Out, and at least one person believes he's willing to apologize for it. This is according to FTR's or Dax Harwood's podcast. Saying that Dax made a plea to Punk, Kenny, and the Bucks, and wanted to kind of have it all work out and everyone to kind of work together. But and CM Punk also responded to the post that was made, because there was a post made on Instagram of a tweet that Wrestling Observer made about how the Elite want to find a way to make it work, and CM Punk responded "duh" in the comments of that. That was a while ago. That was back in December. But this is like, we're kind of circling back around to that, with more expressions of regret. Earlier this month. So hopefully, I mean, I don't know. I feel like allowing Punk back into the company is just opening up the door for something like this to happen again. But could it also be a learning experience for AEW so they don't allow something like this to happen again? Tony Khan should have known not to let him go on this tirade. There should have been more communication with the whole Rocky 3, with the whole taking a dive situation, with Punk's injury. All this stuff should have been communicated better. This is not the fault of one side. This is kind of just an amalgam of fault here. Continuing on, however, sources within AEW are no longer confident that Punk will return to the promotion after he buried Chris Jericho and Jon Moxley on Instagram this week. So this is relating to his Instagram story, the one that I read at the head of this segment. That's just according to sources within the company. There's still a chance that he could return. I'm not so certain. I don't think that he will come back, just because like it would be embarrassing from a PR stance for him to come back. after all the shit that he's caused, he's gonna have crowds against him, and not in like the fun heel way. Like I already said, it's gonna open the door for more instances of this happening again. Everyone's questions, like in media scrums and press conferences, is gonna be about this whole situation. No one's gonna be thinking of Punk as anything but media scrum fight guy, brawl out guy. More details on the all-out backstage fight have been revealed, including a second person besides Nick Jackson being hit with a chair. It's believed to be a production employee. So Ace Steel continuing his rampage with a chair. This time just hitting some intern or some PA walking by. Is it the same chair? Is it a second chair? We won't know. Let's see. Oh man. Is it I want to know. I wonder if it says if it's a second chair. No, it doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like there's any details about that. So Punk and Kenny Omega apparently spoke to each other right after the fight in a composed manner, with CM Punk telling Kenny that he had no issues with him. I feel like he can't really, like, I don't know. It's kind of hard to just say that and believe it after the shit he's said during the media scrum. About, working with children, EVPs, all the shit he said about EVPs. You kind of generalized with the EVPs comment, because the EVPs include the Bucks and Kenny. I think Jericho's also an EVP. So, it's kind of too late to say that, especially after the whole, Ace Steel biting him and everything. Site also mentions that Punk thought he could be medically cleared from his torn triceps by the end of January. It's believed that he should be cleared for an in-ring return very soon, if he's not already cleared. I think there is also the door for WWE. Personally, I don't think he'd go to, like, at this point I feel like his wrestling career might be over, unless he goes to Impact, which is entirely possible, but I don't think he'd go to WWE. Things with Triple H might be mended. However, I mean, I'm not close to anyone in this situation, so this is just me guesstimating right now. Educated guess based on the incidents that have happened. I don't think, from a PR standpoint in WWE, I don't think it'd be good to have CM Punk over there as well. But on the flip side, they got Logan Paul, who is a PR nightmare. So I feel like what they care about are headlines, and if CM Punk's creating headlines, then they might scoop him right up. You never know. Now, moving on from all of the CM Punk drama, now that we've gotten that all out of the way, let's continue on with some of these. Regarding talk of Brock Lesnar's future with WWE beyond WrestleMania 39, the Wrestling Observer says only a handful of people, Vince McMahon, Triple H, Nick Khan, and maybe 2 others, know about his plans. Everything about Brock and what he's doing is considered a secret. There were talks about Brock Lesnar being done, kind of saying goodbye to people on Raw, and his match with Omos kind of being his last match and putting over a young talent. Especially after when Vince left, or Vince stepped down, Brock walked out. That was kind of early signs that Brock might be done with WWE in general. or was at least on his way out. Um, Mania is going to be a big point for a lot of things, but especially this. Will Brock Lesnar, like, if Brock Lesnar loses to Omos, then 100% Brock is done. Brock is done with WWE. At least, like, for a few years, you'd assume, until he gets, that Saudi money. If Brock wins, then, it's safe to say he might still be going on with WWE. Now, there is a chance that he could win that match at Mania, continue on, or stop with WWE, call it there. It's just it's so up in the air right now, and this is like one of the things to look out for with WrestleMania, and I'm excited to see kind of how this unfolds, and that, like, there's this story, for lack of a better word, going into Mania. WrestleVotes told Give Me Sport that Bad Bunny recently had a training session with Damian Priest and Jamie Noble in order to prepare for something physical at either WrestleMania 39 or WWE Backlash in Puerto Rico. I mean, I feel like it's very safe to say he's going to be at Backlash. WrestleMania 39, I could see him doing that as well. It's like, for sure, he's gonna be a Backlash. WrestleMania could be a Mania. That is when they prepare for all their whole spotlight, all their celebrities. They get together. No, Logan Paul's kind of the big celebrity in this one. But he was in the last one, and in the last WrestleMania, they had Logan Paul, Johnny Knoxville. No, I think Bad Bunny was at last year. But I could, now that they don't have, like, kind of, they don't have two celebrities, they've got one. They might be bringing in Bad Bunny for a fun spot. Maybe he's gonna ruin the match for Brock Lesnar. I going back to Brock real quick. I do think there have been talks of Brock putting over a young talent, and everyone thinks Omos with that because that's who he's directly fighting. But there have also been, this is kind of a Hurt Business thing. Omos is part of Hurt Business, but he might not be put directly over with this. It could be a team effort. Imagine this is where Carmelo Hayes gets called up. He helps ruin the match for Brock. He's the one being put over in this. Or rather, him and Omos are getting put over by Brock losing, but it was a team effort. It's I feel like it's not as black and white as either Omos getting put over or no one. But going back to Bad Bunny, I'm trying to think of a place where he would, like, fit in. Maybe appear during the Ray Dom match. Maybe Finn or Damian maybe Damian, like, tries to interfere with a match. Bad Bunny appears out of nowhere and, like, gets involved. Maybe becomes a tag team match. It'd be interesting. But 100% he's gonna be at Backlash. Like I don't see any future where he doesn't appear at Backlash. Continuing on, The Observer also says WWE officials haven't been happy with NXT crowds lately. They sent a memo to talent and crew encouraging them to bring family and friends to this week's double taping, quote, to help bring energy to the crowd in the final shows leading up to Stand and Deliver. And there was somebody on Twitter who is a part of that crowd being like, no, the crowds are great. There's no problem with the crowds. They're loud and they get energetic. I don't think that's the problem. I don't think that's what they're talking about. Because something Liz and I see every week is the NXT crowds. This has been ever since 2.0 started. The NXT crowds fucking suck. They are terrible. And I think even before 2.0, they are awful. They are energetic. They are loud, but not in the way that you want. It's the kind of crowd that tries to get themselves over. Think about the whole Nash Carter incident before, the stuff that got him released. Think about the Braun Breaker situation when, the crowd just instantly turned on him. They're I think because it's such a small crowd and that it's free to get in, it allows for people who kind of just want to be on TV. People who it's the same people that bring titles to every show. They want to get over. They want to be seen. They want to be heard. All those people that are like trying to start chants. People that when Liz and I go to shows are very annoying. We primarily go to Impact shows, and those are fantastic crowds. But occasionally you'll get, one or two people that are trying to stand out from the crowd, trying to be heard, trying to be a leader of the crowd, and doesn't work. Impact crowds are the best, like bar none. They don't allow for that shit. All right, and then finally, WWE filed a trademark for NXT Battleground. That just makes me think of that WWE game, was it Battlegrounds? That was kind of shitty. It'd be a fun little pay-per-view. I wonder if it'll be a pay-per-view or like kind of a special, like how Roadblock was. Roadblock, was that it? I think that was it. All right, that's all the news that we got. Let's jump right into the recap of this week. We've got a lot to talk about. Once again, no Impact. It's so hard to watch Impact because we have the stream on Thursday nights. Literally, when Impact starts is when we go live. And the following morning, it's either watch Ring of Honor or watch Impact. And Impact is kind of tough because the odds that something big happened on an episode of Impact, especially lately, since Santino took over, it's kind of tough. It's very low. So Ring of Honor is more tempting to watch, especially since, especially this week. Look at who was on the card this week. You got Mark Briscoe, you got AR Fox, you got Lady Frost, you got Brian Cage, Tony Depp, and Shane Taylor, Billy Starks, Aussie Open, Christopher Daniels, Samoa Joe. They've been having great cards for Ring of Honor. Like those have been some great shows. And also no Rampage because Rampage is happening tonight at 11:30 p.m. Eastern. And I did not watch Sacrifice. Frankly, to be honest, I forgot it was happening. I was watching SmackDown and I was seeing tweets about Sacrifice. I was like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Sacrifice is happening right now. But to be fair, it didn't seem like, it was a very big card anyway. We also have the New Japan Cup Finals, which are going to be the big thing to talk about. All right, so let's start off with Raw. Let's see. We had big thing opening the show. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, KO and Sami challenged the Usos for the tag titles at Mania. So finally that match is going down. And personally, I know we still have the predictions coming up next weekend, but I think the Usos are going to retain. I think they will. I think it's going to be an instance where Roman's going to lose his titles, Usos are going to retain, and it's like, you're not the head of the table anymore. We're the ones with the gold. We don't need you. It's kind of going to fuel the breakup of the bloodline. So first match of Raw, Austin Theory versus Montez Ford. Very fun match, very good stuff. Let's see, what else do we have? We had some stuff Logan Paul. We had Rhea Ripley and Damage Control having a face-to-face, which led to Rhea Ripley versus Bayley. That was a great match. We had Bianca and Asuka versus Chelsea Green and Piper Niven, which I'm not a big fan of what they're doing with Bianca and Asuka, kind of their build to Mania. They kind of don't want anyone to be the heel here, but I feel like Asuka's the person to make the heel. Like, she's a psycho killer clown, you know? She's a murder clown. Like, make her the bad guy. It's not that hard. And then we had a great face-to-face between Roman and Cody, where Cody made he made Roman walk out. That's not easy. He made a Solo kind of look pathetic. It was great. It was a wonderful face-to-face, and every segment with these guys, Cody, Roman, Paul, they all get better week after week. And now that they've kind of got the story that is, you know, this wasn't personal, this wasn't, you know, this was respectful. They shook hands until Roman did the impression of Dusty Rhodes. That was the kicker. That was what made it personal. You brought family into it. And now it's personal. Now it's mean. Now it's Cody coming after Roman's family. And I think on Raw, Cody's fighting Solo, which will be very interesting. We then, I think on Tuesday, had the finals for the New Japan Cup. This was a great end to the finals. We had a title match before the finals. We had Hiromu Takahashi versus Lio Rush, which ended in Hiromu retaining with the time bomb. Oh my god, super fun. Lio Rush is awesome. Hiromu is one of my favorites in New Japan in general. It's like Hiromu, Ospreay, Zack. Those might be like my top 3. Okada's kind of I think Okada's in my top 5. But Hiromu and Lio Rush together is going to make a banger. But after the match, Zack Sabre Jr. comes out. He reveals the newest member of TMDK is going to be challenging Hiromu for his title. I think it's Sakura Genesis. And that new member, who played a video package, is revealed to be Robbie Eagles, which is awesome. First of all, he's Aussie. Makes a lot of sense why he joined TMDK, although Zack's not Aussie. Everyone else is. But that's going to be awesome. Robbie Eagles is an incredible talent. We haven't seen him since Best of Super Junior last year. Him versus Hiromu is going to be sick. And then we had Sonata versus David Finlay as the finals for the New Japan Cup. This match was excellent. And Sonata picked up the win with Skull End. Honestly, I expected Finlay to win, prove that he could be leader of Bullet Club. But Sonata picked up the win and kind of put himself in the main event shoes now, and made Just 5 Guys as a faction that can be like that can mix it up with the best, and they're not just like a jobber faction. And now that Finlay lost, it's kind of like, up in the air on if he can be the leader of Bullet Club. And now, like, I think LP said afterwards, like, you're not the... Oh, no, he tweeted after saying, well, you're not the leader. You lost. You're not the leader. Sorry. I wonder how that's all going to play out, and if it's going to result in a Bullet Club civil war, or if it's going to be just LPs kicked out or leaves. I don't know if we've gotten anyone else's input on this situation. I gotta start watching the backstage comments. I haven't been watching those at all. With the New Japan Cup, I was only watching the New Japan Cup matches. I'd kind of fast forward through the episodes because it's a lot to get through. It is so much, and when you have to watch so much wrestling each week, it's tough. It's tough. All right, and we also had NXT after that. NXT was a lot of fun. We had the opener, Tiffany Stratton versus Indy Hartwell. Winner goes to that women's ladder match for the relinquished title. Tiffany wins, and she's gonna be awesome in that match. Tiffany Stratton has been an incredible talent. She's got a great look. She's got a great personality. She's got incredible skills in the ring. I mean, her finisher, that moonsault. Oh my god, that moonsault's incredible. That's better than Christopher Daniels. And Christopher Daniels' moonsault is literally called, it's like greatest moonsault ever or something. Or the world's best moonsault. Does suck that Indy Hartwell kind of keeps getting shafted like this. She's awesome, and she shouldn't be. She should be in matches like this. We then had a segment with Gallus and the Creed brothers. They kind of try and one-up each other. They start by playing pool. I think Gallus wins that. Then they're playing darts. Creed bros win that. And then, let's just have a match at Stand and Deliver for the titles. Creed brothers and Gallus are going to be fighting at Stand and Deliver. But then they go outside. And who's there but Tony D and Stacks? And we then go later on in the episode, we go back to the three of them, and they're all laid out. They're either really wasted, really tired, or they just got off a lot of drugs, or they just all had an orgy. But it's weird because Tony D, Stacks, oh no, it was Creed brothers were knocked out. Wolfgang was just chilling at the pool table. Mark Coffey was out of it. And then Tony D and Stacks were all right, boys. So triple threat at Stand and Deliver? Did they fight? Did they drink a lot? What happened? But it was some great stuff all around, Really, really good chemistry between all these teams. Let's see, what else do we have? We had Wesley kind of making a match for Stand and Deliver. I think he gets 4 opponents. Dragon Lee reveals himself to be the first one. JD McDonough comes out. Kind of gets in Wesley's face, but then Ilya comes out, but not for the challenge. He has a match against Ilya, and that's why he's coming out. But you gotta imagine the match at Stand and Deliver is gonna be Dragon Lee, obviously Wesley, JD McDonough, Ilya Dragunov, and who's the 5th one? Oh, I think Axiom approached him at some point, but I think he shrugged off Axiom. I had a thought when we were watching, but I can't remember. But then we had JD McDonough versus Ilya Dragunov, which was a super fun match. I mean, it's NXT UK. This was JD's last match in NXT UK before he came over to NXT Prime. So of course it's going to be a banger. But it did end in DQ with Dragon Lee and Wesley getting involved as they were sitting ringside. I completely forgot. There is a segment where Wesley kind of he runs into Axiom, but then it's revealed that a battle royal will be held next week for the final spot. And the crowd's kind of been chanting for Roderick Strong. I think that's what I've been hearing at least. It'd be a good place for him to come back. That'd be pretty nice. Roddy mixed in with JD McDonough, Ilya Dragunov, Dragon Lee, and Wesley. Oh my god. Oh my god, that'd be awesome. So I hope it's somebody fun, like somebody surprising. Because we've got 3 like contenders. Well, 2 contenders, one new guy, and then we can have a surprise. That'd be nice. So we had a big segment with Javier Bernal coming out as Johnny Gargano. He wants to take on Johnny. Johnny Gargano comes out, kind of lays out Javi, and then challenges Grayson Waller to an unsanctioned match at Stand and Deliver. Stand and Deliver is gonna have a phenomenal card. It's gonna be phenomenal. It might be better than Mania. Oh my god. Okay. I'm sorry. There's so much to talk about with NXT. But so Carl Fredericks came to NXT, now part of WWE, and he had his first vignette. He's had some matches on Level Up. You know, he looks great, obviously. New look and everything, but he had his first video package where we get a glimpse of his new gimmick. And the video package was like great until like halfway through when they start revealing the gimmick. He's a DJ. He's a DJ. They tried this with Nikita Lyons. She was like a rapper or something. Stevie Turner, streamer. Both were cringy as fuck. And Eddie Thorpe is now a DJ. Have they not learned by now? No one wants this gimmick shit. You know, gimmicks are fine. Like, obviously everyone has to have a gimmick, but it's these like it's these one-dimensional gimmicks that suck. So then after that we had Ivy Nile versus Lyra Valkyria, another spot in that ladder match. Lyra wins with a roundhouse kick. It does look that Ivy lost this because she's awesome. It'd be cool to see her in that match, but you know, Lyra's also awesome. It'd be great to see her in that match as well. We had the Chase U and Schism debate, which ends in Duke Hudson putting up the school in a match at Stand and Deliver. And then we had the main event, Pretty Deadly versus Braun Breaker and Carmelo Hayes. And the story with this is like Braun doesn't want anything to happen to Melo before Stand and Deliver. He wants Melo at his peak, at his best, so there's no excuses. And Braun and Carmelo win with the top rope leg drop from Melo. If Braun Breaker doesn't want anything to happen to Melo, doesn't want to be hurt, he should not let Melo do his finisher because that's gonna hurt him. That's gonna hurt him real bad. I also watched MLW Underground, which had a great card. 2 title matches. MLW is awesome. MLW's been doing some great stuff. It's just hard to watch them because they're no longer on YouTube. They're only doing stuff on, I think, Fight TV and Reels. Yeah, they got a TV deal with Reels now, which is good for them. I think we might get Reels, so we could potentially watch it live. Just a matter of finding when it airs live. But the first match of Underground was Jacob Fatu versus Alexander Hammerstone for the world title. I mean, how do you have this as an opener? Like, this was awesome. This was a hell of a match. Hammerstone retains with the Nightmare Pendulum. And the new faction reveals itself afterwards, the Hive. They attack Hammerstone. So that's cool. And then we had Billy Starks versus Taya Valkyrie for the women's welterweight title. I think it was the welterweight title or featherweight. And Taya wins with the Road to Valhalla. Fun match, you know, had some shenanigans with John Hennigan, so it was all right. It was all right. Let's talk about Dynamite. So, Dynamite opens with Nick Jackson being put into an ambulance. And we're all like, what the fuck happened? And Liz and I also tuned in like a couple minutes late. So we thought we missed something. But no. Nobody knows what happened. Nick's being put into an ambulance. And Hangman goes with him. And so we're kind of, left wondering with that. First match, Orange Cassidy and Darby Allin and Sting versus Kip Sabian, The Butcher, and The Blade. Fun match. But, very obvious who's going to win. Orange Cassidy, Darby, and Sting win. We had Top Flight versus The Guns for the tag titles. This was a pretty fun match. The Guns retain with a 310 to Yuma, but again, who's going to win. It's very obvious. But afterwards, FTR comes out. And, they want a shot at the title, but Austin is like, no, you're not getting a shot at the title. Absolutely not. Like, we are refusing to give you a title match. And then Dax is like, all right, let's put our careers on the line for we will leave AEW if we lose the match. So that's what gets the Guns to accept. After that, we had Stokely Hathaway versus Hook in a no DQ match for the FTW title. Hook wins with the Red Rum. This was very fun. It starts out with Stokely on the mic being like, so I'm not medically cleared to wrestle. So this match is not happening. And what a coinky dink. I'm also retiring from wrestling today. But he gives a doctor's note to Justin Roberts, and Justin Roberts is like, this is a receipt from Wingstop. And so the match happens. It's very short. Hook wins the Red Rum and has a spot where Stokely lands on like a ring barrier that was pulled out from under the ring. Great stuff. Adam Cole also was in the ring. And we got his first opponent returning from injury. Daniel Garcia comes out and makes a claim why he should be in the match. He makes a slip up. He says he's a pro wrestler accidentally instead of a sports entertainer. But that's going to be Adam Cole's first match, which will be happening next week. It's going to be awesome. That is going to be phenomenal. Adam Cole and Daniel Garcia. Oh man. Barn burner. We then had Jon Moxley versus Stu Grayson, where Mox picked up the win. Really fun match. I mean, Stu Grayson's awesome. Moxley's awesome. Of course, it's going to be. But again, one-sided. Very one-sided. Stu Grayson's not going to pull one up on Moxley. Like, it's not going to happen. Another QTV. This one was not as fun as the last one. Pretty lame stuff. Then we had Sky Blue versus Tony Storm. Again, another one-sided match. Tony's not gonna lose. Like, obviously. Sky Blue is not gonna pull one up on Tony. And here's an interesting segment up next. Stu Grayson is in medical, and I really wanted to talk about this because I don't see anyone talking about this at all. So Mox walks in, Stu Grayson in getting treated, and Mox says, Sorry, Stu, it's just business." Or he might have even just said, "It's just business." Now, why did he say that? If it was a rage-fueled brawl or a war that he's starting with Hangman and Dark Order, why would he say it's just business? Unless he's being hired by somebody. Now, I want to return to this in a second. So just keep that in mind when we talk about the final bit. So the main event, Kenny Omega versus Hijo del Vikingo. Another, this was the dream match that was being, advertised. But again, another one-sided match. Kenny's going to win, obviously. Maybe there's a chance Vikingo could have won, but no. Kenny's 100% retaining. So afterwards, after this incredible match, Kenny's interviewed. Blackpool Combat Club comes out, attacks Kenny. Hangman arrives in an ambulance. the ambulance that he got in, he's now driving. He shows up with a plank of wood, and he fends off BCC while Kenny's taken out. Kenny's, selling in the corner, not paying attention to anything. Don pretends that he got hit by Hangman. And when Kenny finally comes to his senses, Don's like, it was Hangman. Hangman did this. So that kind of sparks some conflict between Hangman and Kenny. So, obviously, Don doesn't want Hangman and Kenny back together. But going back to that bit in Medical where Mox said it's just business, is he being paid by Don Callis to basically hunt down Hangman and the Dark Order? Is he being paid to do that? Kind of create tension between Kenny and Hangman, so there's no opportunity for them to mend fences. And well, this, like, Kenny's gonna go with Hangman. Like, that is a certainty. That is gonna happen. But will this lead to Don turning on Kenny when he makes the choice Don doesn't want? Bring out Takeshita, who's been kind of his protege, and create the new bout machine in Takeshita, and kind of rip Kenny out from under his wing. The bit in Medical where Mox said it's just business has been like eating at me, because I feel like that I don't see anyone talking about that. Like, that clearly says that him and BCC are being paid to do this. They're being paid to fuck up Kenny and Hangman. So, moving on from Dynamite. And we'll see how that all plays out. You gotta assume Kenny and Takeshita is gonna be like a pay-per-view match. So watch Ring of Honor. Great show. It is like a match after match after match kind of show, but it did have some good segments in there. So, running down the list, we had Tony Nese versus Mark Briscoe, where Briscoe took the win with a froggy elbow. Very one-sided. Obviously, Briscoe's going to win. We had Blake Christian, Metalik, and AR Fox versus Trustbusters. Blake, Metalik, and AR Fox won with a 450 splash. We had Lady Frost versus Sky Blue. Sky Blue went to the Skyfall. I think that one could have gone either way. We had Rush and Dralistico versus Rhett Titus and Tracy Williams. Obviously, Rush and Dralistico are going to win. And I think they're going to be in the Reach for the Sky ladder match as well at Supercard of Honor. But then we had a great segment between Eddie Kingston and Claudio. Kind of sit-down interview with them, and what's his name? Not Ian Riccaboni, Caprice Coleman. This was great. This was a wonderful segment that's leading to their match at Supercard of Honor. And it's just so full of malice between these two. Like Claudio doesn't have any ill will towards. Oh no, he does have ill will, because he pointed out a lot of shit that he doesn't like about Eddie. But Eddie was pissed. Eddie was so pissed. And that's going to be a wonderful match. After that, we had Matt Taven versus Darius Martin. Taven won with the climax. We had Tony Deppen versus Brian Cage. Cage won with the drill claw. We then had Silas Young versus Shane Taylor, where Shane won the package pile driver. That was a very fun match. That was excellent. We had Billy Starks versus Miranda Alizé, where Starks won with a tombstone pile driver. We then had super fun match, Christopher Daniels and Matt Sydal versus Aussie Open. I mean, it's Aussie Open. How do they have a bad match? They can never have a bad match, even in singles. Aussie Open wins the Coriolis. And then finally we had Samoa Joe versus Cheeseburger as the main event. Samoa Joe had an open challenge and Cheeseburger was the one to accept. I love that they had like a graphic before the match that was like, oh, Samoa Joe's having this open challenge. Who's going to accept? And they had like a silhouette next to Samoa Joe, but it was very clearly Cheeseburger. Like if you've watched even a glimpse of Ring of Honor, you know Cheeseburger's silhouette when you see it, because it's like got the cowboy hat, it's like got the, you know, the feathers all, or the flourish on his entrance gear. Very obviously Cheeseburger, and so I saw that and I was like, yeah, I know who that is. But Joe won super quick with a muscle buster, like instantly. I think like 50 seconds, 40 seconds. All right, and then finally we had SmackDown. We started off with Cody Rhodes versus Ludwig Kaiser. Cody won with a crossroads. Very fun match. Very, very fun, but very one-sided. Cody's obviously going to win. We had Rey Mysterio versus LA Knight. Yeah. LA Knight won with a roll-up, beaten out of distraction from Dominic Mysterio. Glad LA Knight got the win. Yeah, dummies. Then had Natalya and Shotzi versus Lacey Evans and Xia Li, where the winner goes to the showcase match at Mania. Natty and Shotzi picked up the win. Afterwards, Ronda Rousey comes out and announces that her and Shayna were added to the showcase match as well. So I think we're waiting on one more team. I wonder who that's going to be. Then we had the Intercontinental Championship contract signing, which, you know, it was great. The back and forth between Sheamus and Drew was fantastic. But then Gunther and Imperium comes out. And in the ring, Butch just mauls Gunther. Like he leaps at him over the table. It was great. And then we get Gunther versus Butch. I wish this match would have been longer, because, you know, this would be a phenomenal match just given a little bit more time. But it was great. Gunther wins with the Last Symphony. And then we had the closing segment. We had the KO show featuring Sami Zayn. KO reveals a new shirt that says KO Mania. And Sami's like, oh, cool, you got a new KO Mania shirt. That's awesome. And KO's like, no, this is the back. Wait till you look at the front. Tosses it to Sami. Sami reveals that it says WrestleZania. And that's awesome. That's how we know that, like, they're legit. They're best buds again. But then the Usos attack KO and Sami out of nowhere. And that's how we close the show. Great stuff. Great stuff. And then we have Rampage tonight. I don't know if I'll be around to watch it. I think I'll have to watch it tomorrow. But yeah, really fun stuff. Let's talk about the top 5 matches of the week. This will be a pretty easy week, I think. It's the best match of the week. Obviously, Kenny Omega versus Hijo del Vikingo. Second best, definitely Lio Rush versus Hiromu Takahashi. After that, after that, I'd give it to Jacob Fatu versus Alexander Hammerstone. And then Christopher Daniels and Matt Sydal versus Aussie Open from Ring of Honor. And then Silas Young versus Shane Taylor. I thought that was an awesome, awesome match. So no matches, only one match from Dynamite, one New Japan, 2 Ring of Honor matches, and 1 MLW match. Wow, that's awesome. All right. So that concludes this week's recap. we have 2K22 stream next week on Thursday. I think we have the Royal Rumble next. That's gonna be the next paper. That's gonna be what we show on Thursday. We've got all of our regular shows to get through behind the scenes, so we can kind of speed through it. If you're watching on YouTube, leave us a question, and Liz and I will be back to answer it next weekend. As we're doing our predictions for Mania, ask us, shit about Mania, stuff about AEW, stuff about CM Punk, stuff about, Billy Starks, or Gunta, or Butch, or, anything. But yeah, we'll be back on doing the podcast next weekend. Predictions for Mania, live watch along for Mania. That's going to be a blast. 2-day watch along, and then 2K22 stream on Thursday. All right, have a great rest of your weekend, everybody. Hope you all enjoy. We'll be back very soon. But until then, have a great rest of your weekend. See you at Mania Week. Bye-bye.